Hey everyone, welcome to a new episode of my Megapark. Now in the last episode I started working on this area, which is a base for the Round Earth Society. I made this big rocket here, I built this enterprise, and I made a station here for the train, and I started work on this roller coaster, which I will continue working on in the next episode. In this episode I want to focus on the area inside this volcano inside the base. So basically I want to add extra buildings here, extra rides. I want to sort of make it look like a training center for prospective astronauts, something like that. And maybe I'll make some extra rocket launch pads for smaller rockets. Anyway, I changed the entrance to this enterprise a little bit because I figured I could need this space to make extra buildings. I also kind of still want to add an extra tracked ride here. Not sure what I want to build yet. I tried a few roller coasters, but they didn't really work out, and we already have a ton of roller coasters. Maybe a suspended monorail would look nice here. Now, while off camera, I did something else in the park. I put many extra trees. Many of the tree or foresty areas looked a bit spammy, so I actually took out many of these forest trees and replaced them with these, what are they called, golden hinoki cypress trees. And I don't know, but for some reason it makes it all look a little bit nicer. So yeah, I must have added hundreds of these trees throughout the park, but the park is huge, so when you look at it quickly you will barely notice. But in areas like these, I think it does make all the trees look a little bit nicer. Alright, I'm just gonna continue working on this area, and probably I'll also put a few trees on the inside and make it a little bit greenish in some areas, but I'll do that in the end just to fill up the gaps. Alright, these will be two motion simulators that will be showing videos of the shattering. If you don't know what the shattering is, go check my video about the Round Earth Society. But yeah, this is to prepare future pilots for the event. This one will be about Ascension. Alright, now that these rides are made, I will make a nice building for them. I think that will look pretty nice in this area. Okay, that's the simulators done. Now there's a few other rides that I haven't placed in the park yet, but the first thing I'm gonna do is, well, I made the path here lower, but I don't think I will. I want it this way, so I will make a nice bridge here. river rapids can actually be used to make nice arches. So you can just put the track like this, I'll hide part of the front with some scenery. So let's do it like this. Needs to be a little bit higher. Alright, and now under these metal pieces we have a very shallow arch. But it is, I think it's a nice trick. I like to use this for bridges sometimes. Or if you have a gate, it usually also looks nice to put this on the bottom of the gate. Alright, we now have the two simulators, and I made a little restaurant here. I put some actual shops here, just to actually lure the guests to this area. So right now we have 149 rides, so yeah, we're still under 200, so we can still add a lot of shops and stalls to the park if we want. And I'll probably do that in the end, just to replace some of the stalls that we copied and pasted. As you may be able to see, the park rating actually fluctuates quite a bit. Right now, in one of the last episodes I did some stuff to reduce to make the guests happier when they enter the park, to reduce the difficulty of park rating and the difficulty of attracting guests. So that has led to the amount of guests now being around 5,800. So yeah, when you get to such a high amount of guests, you can see the park rating fluctuates. And at this point, in the beginning I always thought it was mostly because of guests being lost. But then in one park, when I actually removed all the litter, I saw that was actually the cause for the park rating being so low. So I think that's the case. So if we now remove the litter, we should immediately see a jump in the park rating. Oh yeah, the number has immediately risen to 999. Now the reason for the litter being the cause for the park rating to drop in the end is that the litter it doesn't scale with the number of guests in your park. The litter factors in the park rating really in an absolute amount. So you can only have so much litter. I don't know how much, but only a fixed amount until the park rating begins to drop. And litter, I believe that also includes vomit. So let's say 100 guests exit their rides, immediately vomit. It only has to be there for a short amount. I mean, you can have a handyman nearby and sweep it up. But when you have so many guests, there will always be an amount of litter, especially with the park also being this big. So it will always have an effect on the park rating. You can see it slowly starting to drop again, now 986. So yeah, it will get lower again. I think the only way to stop it from getting any lower is just to have handyman everywhere, usually at the place where guests are actually eating. but also near exits of rides that make them nauseous, just to immediately get the litter out of the way. So yeah, it doesn't even matter if the guests are actually complaining that the park is that your paths are filthy. Basically, a while ago, before I removed the litter, I check sometimes, and I can really never see any guests complain about the amount of litter in the park. So yeah, the litter doesn't even have to be concentrated for the park rating to drop. It really doesn't matter where it is, and that really doesn't matter if the guests are actually complaining about it. So yeah, it's a good thing to take into account if you're doing a scenario and you have to keep the park rating up. Always make sure there's enough litter bins, and make sure if your guests vomit that your handymen are always nearby to clean it up. Anyway, we have a little eatery here, and I just have to give it a name. It's basically named after someone on my Discord. You may have seen his entries in several of the contests. We have a user named Shen Kitchen, and I will name this little Asian restaurant after him. I will call this Shen's Kitchen. Alright. Maybe make the this should make it more easy to read. Alright. Now I will continue to add some buildings here. There's also several other rides that I can still make. We don't have any dodgems in the park yet, for example. And I can probably also fit in one of these swinging inverter ships. And we already have a 3D cinema, but it's hidden under the pyramid. We can see it over here. So I don't think it hurts to make another one here, but actually with the big dome on top being visible. I think that will also fit in with the theme of this area. Alright, we now have a 3D cinema here, and guests can come here to be brainwashed into believing that the Earth is round. I also call it the round Earth because it kind of looks like, of course it's ball shaped. So yeah, I think the name was fitting for the 3D cinema. Okay, I will now just continue extending these buildings to over here. And I will probably then add a few more decorations, and that will probably be the end of this episode. Alright, well, detailing all these buildings, it takes quite a lot of time. But yeah, I thought it was fun to do. I must say I'm really happy with the result of all these buildings. So yeah, we started with the Enterprise building here. After that, I made these buildings with the two motion simulators. I made a little restaurant over here in the corner. Of course, many of these buildings have one angle obscured by the rocket, but I can live with that. And of course, here in the corner, I now made this building with the satellite dish on top, and I also put a little souvenir stall inside, so that way the building actually has a function. Oh, this guy didn't buy one, sadly. He's too hungry or thirsty right now. Okay, I'm just gonna place some last decorations here, some poles and stuff, and that will be the end of the episode. Alright, I think it's nice to have a little touch of greenery here and there. It might be a little bit too much, not sure if I'm keeping it, but for now I like the way this looks. I'll probably add some more patches here and there. I think it will help everything look a little bit more lush. Anyway, that will be it for this episode. So yeah, next episode I think I will just continue decorating here. And I might make a start on this big coaster called Ascension. Alright, I hope you enjoyed watching me build, and I'll see you again in the next episode. See you later.